little bit about a question that I got from 2 or 3 individuals on my page, specific to how I handle and deal with difficult situations, not just situations, but most certainly the difficult patients or difficult conversations that I have to have in my life. And let's face it, we all have those. Everybody's going to have those almost every day in our life. We're going to come across some kind of conflict, some kind of negative response from someone else, some kind of difficult situation. So really what you want to do is first figure out who it is you're in this situation with. So if you are a clinician and it's your patient, it's a little bit different than if you're a patient and it's your clinician or anything like that. Again, same, it's different if it's like you and a sibling. So you've got to really assess who it is you're in this situation with and who's making it difficult. Is it a one-way street? Are you the only one that feels this way? Are you getting signs from the other person that they feel like you're being difficult? And if it's a two-way street, then it really needs to be addressed. So if you're a clinician and you're in a difficult situation, and let's say that your patient's non-compliant, they come in, they're rude to you all the time, they're very difficult to work with, they're not happy. I personally, and again, everybody takes about this a little bit differently, I will speak to them privately about it, and I will just ask, how are things going? How do you feel like you're doing in physical therapy? How do you feel like you and I are communicating? Do you feel we are getting along and that you're getting what you need? And I will admit that I've had an instance where a patient said no, so I had to transfer the plan of care to someone else because that's what was best for the patient. Because let's face it, not everybody is going to jive with your personality. I have a very bright, strong, spastic personality. I love being excited and being happy and singing and dancing and doing all of those things, so some people don't like that. And I have to be careful about that and be able to adjust my situation. If you're not able to adjust to their personality, meaning if it's somebody that's being very difficult and they're aggravated and you're not able to adjust or change that situation, it may very well come to the point where you need to discuss with them. And yes, it does need to be you that has that discussion. Discuss with them whether or not we need to transfer their plan of care. Because a lot of times they may not know that they're acting that way, and it's just because they're in pain. Pain can make us do some crazy and really uncomfortable things that are not like ourselves. So that is how I would handle that as a clinician. I would speak to the patient about it. Make sure there's nothing else going on at home. Make sure there's nothing else going on with another healthcare practitioner. Make sure they're not just uncomfortable, and then address it from there. If you are working with a sibling or a friend and you're dealing with a difficult person, in that essence, it's the same thing. You really have to communicate with them about it. You need to let them know, hey, you're being difficult about this situation. I'm trying to discuss it with you the best manner that I can, and you're making it very hard for me to move on from that. If they do not accept it, that's fine. You did what you needed to do. You're going to have to move on. You can't mope on it, and you can't be negative about it and let it become a negative experience for you. Address it and move on. As far as if you are a patient and you're having a hard time with a healthcare professional communicating or building a relationship with them, or you're just not liking their personality, you feel like they're not listening to you, you don't connect with them, it's really very important that you let that clinician know. I don't know about most of my colleagues, but I know for myself, I would prefer you tell me so that I can refer you to someone who you get along with better or who you are able to discuss things with a little more personally. And versus you being miserable and not learning what you need to do and feeling like physical therapy is not working for me, it's not the greatest thing. So again, I'm a pelvic floor PT, so I have to really get into some deep discussions with patients who have dealt with traumas, lots of pain, lack of function to the essence of where they cannot have intercourse anymore. Things such as prolapse are happening, they're leaking, they're losing stool. I've dealt with a lot of that, so I have to be able to adjust my personality and to adjust what I am doing to understand why that patient may be a little difficult on that day, or to understand why it might be a little more difficult for us to communicate on that day. So being able to really step back, assess the situation, understand where the other person is coming from, and make sure that you are both on the same page. It's important for both parties. So I hope that that answers the questions that were coming up and stewing up about that. I would love to discuss this further with you and connect with you if you have further questions. And if you don't, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. And remember that communications and relationship building is the most important thing in any aspect of life. So you've got to be able to do that, and you've got to be able to get to a point where you're comfortable with being honest with other people when a situation arises that makes you uncomfortable or is difficult to handle. All right, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.